Dark, cinematic music plays. The camera pans over a dimly lit living room, soft candlelight flickers, casting shadows on the walls. A woman, Lila, lies face down on a massage table, her shoulders tense, her breath uneven. The door creaks open and a man, Daniel, steps in, rolling up his sleeves. His hands are strong, calloused from years of hard work. He hesitates for just a second before placing them on her bare back. The tension in the room is palpable. Asterisk. Lila, whispering, barely audible asterisk, Daniel, don't stop. Asterisk. Asterisk, the camera zooms in on Daniel's face, his eyes widen, his breath hitches. The screen cuts to black. Text appears asterisk. What happens when a single dad gives his best friend's sister a massage, and her whisper changes everything? Asterisk, dramatic pause. Then, a quick montage, flashes of their past, childhood memories, laughter, a funeral, tears, a wedding that never happened. The music swells. The title slams onto the screen in bold letters. Asterisk. Narrator, voiceover, deep and emotional asterisk, this is a story about love, loyalty, and the line we never meant to cross. But sometimes, the heart doesn't listen to reason. Asterisk. Asterisk, cut to a subscribe animation, like and subscribe for more emotional stories. Asterisk. #### Chapter 1, The Best Friend's Sister. Asterisk, the story begins 5 years earlier. Asterisk. Lila Carter had always been the wild one, the girl who climbed trees, dyed her hair pink at 16, and laughed too loud in church. Daniel Mercer, her older brother Jake's best friend since childhood, had always seen her as Jake's little sister, nothing more. But then, life happened. Jake died in a car accident when Lila was 21. One moment, he was there, laughing, teasing her about her terrible taste in music, and the next, he was gone. The funeral was a blur of black dresses, hushed whispers, and Daniel's strong arms holding her up when her knees gave out. After that, Daniel became her anchor. He was a single dad to his 6-year-old daughter, Mia, after his wife left them when Mia was just a baby. He worked construction, came home exhausted, and still found time to check on Lila, bringing her groceries when she forgot, fixing her leaky sink, sitting with her on nights when the grief was too heavy. And Lila? She loved him. Not in the way she should have. Not in the way that was allowed. Because Daniel was her brother's best friend. Because he was off limits. Because if Jake were still alive, he would have punched Daniel in the face for even thinking about her like that. So she buried it. Smiled when he smiled. Laughed when he joked. Pretended she didn't notice the way his hands lingered when he helped her up from the couch. Pretended she didn't dream about those hands touching her in ways that had nothing to do with friendship. And Daniel? He pretended too. Because he knew. He felt it, the way her breath hitched when he got too close, the way her eyes followed him when she thought he wasn't looking. But he had Mia to think about. He had Jake's memory to honor. He had rules. And the first rule was, never cross the line with your best friend's sister. #### Chapter 2, The Massage. Asterisk, present day. Lila's apartment. Rain taps against the windows. Asterisk. Lila groaned as she rolled her shoulders, wincing at the knot in her neck. She had been hunched over her laptop for 12 hours straight, finishing a last-minute design project for a client. Her muscles screamed in protest. She texted Daniel. Lila ****, I think I pulled something. My neck is killing me. Weary face ****. His reply came instantly. Daniel ****, I'll be there in 20. Don't move, ***. She should have said no. She should have called a professional. But the thought of Daniel's hands on her, even if it was just a massage, made her stomach flip. 20 minutes later, he knocked. She opened the door, and there he stood, all 6'2" of him, his dark hair damp from the rain, his grey Henley stretched tight over his broad shoulders. "Where's the damage?" he asked, stepping inside. She pointed to her neck. "Right here. I think I slept wrong." He smirked. "Or you just work too hard. Says the man who works 12-hour shifts," she shot back. He chuckled, then gestured to her couch. "Lie down. Face down." Her pulse spiked. She obeyed, stretching out on the cushions, her cheek pressed against the fabric. She heard him kneel beside her, felt the warmth of his body as he straddled her hips, not in a sexual way, but close enough that her breath hitched. Then his hands were on her. Strong. Warm. Gentle. She bit her lip as his thumbs dug into the tight muscles at the base of her neck. A moan escaped her before she could stop it. Daniel froze. "Too hard?" he asked, his voice rough. "No," she breathed. "It's perfect." He worked in silence for a few minutes, his hands moving lower, kneading her shoulders, her upper back. She could feel the tension melting away, and something else building. Something dangerous. His fingers brushed the strap of her tank top, and she shivered. "Lila," he murmured, his voice low. She didn't answer. Couldn't. His hands stilled. "You okay?" She turned her head slightly, her lips brushing his wrist. "Daniel." He went rigid. And then. "Don't stop." The words slipped out before she could stop them. A whisper. A plea. Daniel's breath hitched. His hands trembled against her skin. For a heartbeat, neither of them moved. Then he pulled away. Chapter 3, The Line. Daniel stood abruptly, running a hand through his hair. I should go." Lila sat up, her heart pounding. "Daniel, wait." "No." His voice was sharp. This was a mistake. Her chest ached. It was just a massage. Was it? His eyes burned into hers. Because it felt like more. She swallowed hard. Maybe it was. Silence. Then Daniel let out a harsh laugh. "You don't get it, do you? Jake would hate this. He'd hate me for even being here." Lila flinched. "Jake's gone. And he's still my best friend." Daniel snapped. "I can't just forget that because you're lonely, Lila." The words cut deep. She stood, her hands shaking. "Wow. So that's what you think of me? That I'm just some pathetic girl throwing herself at you because I'm lonely?" Daniel's jaw clenched. "That's not what I meant." "Then what did you mean?" she demanded. He didn't answer. Lila's eyes burned. "You know what? Fine. If that's how you feel, then leave. But don't you dare act like this is all on me. You've been looking at me like that for years, Daniel. Don't pretend you don't feel it too." Daniel's breath came fast. "It doesn't matter what I feel. It's wrong. Because of Jake," she whispered. "Because of everything," he shouted. "I have Mia to think about. I have a life. I can't just ruin everything because I can't keep my hands off you." Lila's heart shattered. She stepped back, wrapping her arms around herself. "Then don't." Daniel stared at her, his chest heaving. For a second, she thought he might say something, might change something. But then he turned and walked out. The door clicked shut behind him. And Lila was left standing there, alone, with the weight of what they'd almost done crushing her. Chapter 4, The Fallout. The next few days were a blur of silence. Lila threw herself into work, ignoring Daniel's texts. He sent her a few, I'm sorry. We should talk, but she didn't reply. She couldn't. Because every time she thought about him, she remembered the way his hands had felt on her skin. The way his breath had hitched when she whispered. The way he had looked at her, like he wanted her just as much as she wanted him. But he was right. It was wrong. Jake's memory hung between them like a ghost. And then there was Mia. Daniel's daughter was the sweetest, most precocious little girl Lila had ever met. She had Daniel's dark eyes and her mother's smile, and she adored Lila. They baked cookies together, watched movies, painted each other's nails. Lila couldn't bear the thought of hurting her. But she also couldn't bear the thought of never having Daniel. Chapter 5, The Confession. 3 days after the massage, Lila's phone rang. It was Daniel. She hesitated before answering. Hello? Lila. His voice was raw. We need to talk. She closed her eyes. I don't think that's a good idea. Please. She sighed. Fine. Where? Your place. Now. When Daniel arrived, he looked like hell. His eyes were bloodshot, his stubble thicker than usual. He stood in her doorway, his hands shoved in his pockets, his shoulders tense. Lila crossed her arms. What do you want, Daniel? He swallowed hard. I can't stop thinking about you. Her breath caught. I try, he continued, his voice breaking. I try to do the right thing. But every time I see you, every time I hear your voice, he cut himself off, shaking his head. I'm so fucking tired of pretending, Lila. She stared at him, her heart pounding. What are you saying? He stepped closer. I'm saying I want you. I've wanted you for years. And I don't know how to make it stop. Lila's lips parted. Daniel. But I can't, he said, his voice cracking. Because Jake would hate me. Because Mia deserves better. Because I can't be the guy who ruins everything. Lila's eyes burned. So what do we do? Daniel's hands clenched into fists. We walk away. Before it's too late. She wanted to scream. She wanted to fight. But she knew he was right. Okay, she whispered.